It might not happen often that you need to draw an ellipse in your drawings, but if you ever want to do this, you should use the ellipse command. The shortcut for the ellipse command is EL, so whenever you want to use ellipse, you need to type EL. I type EL and press enter. When you enter the ellipse command, the first thing you need to do is specify the diameter of the ellipse. So the first thing it asks you is to specify the first end of the diameter. This is the first end of the diameter, and then it says, okay, now specify the other end. So you stand along this direction and enter the length of the diameter. For example, I enter 500. As you can see, from this starting point to here, its length is 500. The second thing it asks me is to specify the second radius of the ellipse. For example, in this direction it was 500. I want the radius in this direction to be 200, which means the other diameter will actually be 400. So in this direction I enter 200. As you can see, now here it's 500 and here it's 400. Just like that, it drew the ellipse for you. Now you might be wondering if I can draw a circle and then, for example, compress it to turn it into an ellipse. Let's test it out. If you draw a circle, which you definitely know how to do with the C command, you can draw it like this, and then if you click on it, it will show you its grip points. Now, if I click on any of these particular grips and then drag them inwards, it will effectively shrink the entire circle from all directions. This means your original circle will consistently remain a perfect circle. It won't turn into an ellipse, but when you click on an ellipse and grab any of its grips to shrink it, it only shrinks along that specific axis. You see, it's really interesting. So you can even effectively turn an ellipse into almost a perfect circle, but you can't turn a circle into an ellipse. Well, another point about drawing ellipses is that when you press EL right at the beginning, before you specify the starting point of the axis, there's a sub-command called arc. You can enter the arc option to draw an elliptical arc. Again, it asks you to specify the first point of its axis. This is the first point. Then it asks you to specify the second point. This is the second point, and then it asks you for the third point, which is actually where the ellipse will be drawn. Specify it along the direction of the second axis as well. Up to this point, it's similar to the ellipse command. But here's the point. From now on, it asks you for 2 points. These 2 points are the start and end points of the arc. For example, I tell it the start of the arc should be here, and the end of the arc, for example, should be here. If you want it to be 180 degrees, or if you want it to be 270, for example, up to here. Now I go up to 180, for example, up to here. And just like that, it draws an elliptical arc for you beautifully. It's a very simple command, and with just a couple of practice runs, you can easily master it. Please subscribe to my page and hit the bell button so that as soon as a new tutorial is released, you'll have access to it. See you in the next tutorials.